Okay, I want to talk about my Daikin aircon controller boards. And they control Daikin aircon units, which are great. A little bit of history. Daikin aircons are great. I had some in my old house and I had the Wi-Fi modules and it worked perfectly. The app on my phone connected to the Wi-Fi module and let me control it. I obviously wrote my own stuff to remote control it and manage it automatically. And I'm not alone. People have done that and there's integrations for Home Assistant. When I moved to Wales, got Daikin aircon because, as I say, for the third time, they're great. But I got Wi-Fi modules and to my surprise, they weren't the same. They look a bit like this. And this particular model is, let me have a look, BRP 069C41. And it was a nightmare. It took me ages to get it on my Wi-Fi. It seemed to make some assumptions about the Wi-Fi and NAT and so on. I have separate VLANs for things like this and just, it couldn't cope. So eventually, after a lot of work, I got it and the app on the Wi-Fi. I had to create an account. It all goes to some cloud-based stuff. The app doesn't work directly with the Wi-Fi module at all by the look of it. It's very strange. And I gather since they've actually limited the amount of API calls you can make to try and remote control things. So it's not good. So the Daikin was born. I got my oscilloscope out, went up in the loft because it's ducted systems in this room. Put the oscilloscope on, got it working. Worked out how to control it, did the basics. I then went to my guest room, which has a wall-mounted unit, and plugged it in. Of course, it didn't work. That's a different protocol. So, got that working. The Daikin does both. So the Daikin board was born, and if you order one, you get this. Now, it has a little label on it, just warning you. It is a populated printed circuit board based on an open source design with no case and lead. It's provided as a development board, a component for use in your own projects at your own risk, and you need to take anti-static and safety precautions. That's because it's not a complete product like the Daikin one, but it's a circuit board, and it comes with the software on it just to make life easy, but it's a circuit board. And you can see from this that it's actually got a load of scored lines on it, and these allow you to snap it off. Now you can actually snap it down into two different sizes. There's this medium-sized sort of board, which fits in a plastic housing in some makes of Daikin, which is why it's like that. Or you can cut it down to the small one. And here's one I cut down earlier. And it's got this 5-pin connector. And the reason it's got this is because inside the official Daikin module, you've got the same exact 5-pin connector. And this is an S21 connector, and a lot of Daikin models have exactly the same one, or a vertical one, exactly the same type of plug, and you end up with a plug 5 pins from this to the aircon. You can get the plugs and crimps on, from people like RS. It's a 5-pin plug, and of course the official Daikin one comes with the appropriate lead. You don't get these with a lead because there are so many different makes of Daikin, and there's so many different leads you could possibly need. And that's one of the challenges with this, if you're buying it, is you need a lead. But there is a trick we've got for the lead. You can get these types of header jumper cables from places like Amazon, and they're individual pin connections. And they will actually fit on the pins in most connectors. So you could get them into your Daikin board like this and plug this into the S21 header on your Daikin. However, some good news. Since I originally recorded this video, as the new version, we've now got some generic cables. And these are quite good. They look like this, and it has the S21 connector on the end, which will go to the Daikin, and the other end has these general purpose header pins. So you plug it into your Daikin, and you've now got a lead that you can run into the connector on a lot of boards, S21, X50, X35. Now, you might find your board is slightly different, smaller connector or something, so this doesn't work. But at least you've got a cable to start with. You could chop these off and find the right connector for your board. But these are now available on Tindy as an optional extra. Now, I've already read the safety label, but there are other concerns. You're putting this inside your aircon, or connecting it inside your aircon. That means opening the case. There are live parts in there. Turn off the power, and this usually means some circuit breaker or something. These things aren't usually just plugged in. You've got to turn off the power. You've got to take all safety precautions. You've got to have some clue what you're doing with things like this. And of course, there's the possibility of breaking your aircon. So be careful. Now, there are several types of connector. The most common one, as I've mentioned, is the S21 connector. Although there are a couple of different sizes of that on the actual boards themselves, just to be difficult. That's easy. There is also the X50A and S35, so you actually need to connect to both. There's information on the website and discussion groups about how you do this. Now, both of those are low voltage, so you could run a cable outside the aircon and stick the fake in outside. Do a 3D printed case for it if you like. There is also the X403 connector. Now, this works the same as the S21, except it's live. You do not want to run a cable from that outside your aircon. The fake-in will be live, and you don't want any situation where someone could touch that. So that needs to stay inside, stuck somewhere out the way. So be careful with that. So it's entirely at your own risk. This is the whole point. This isn't a complete product. It's not an official product. It is a circuit board for you to play around with. Okay? So just to be clear. But that's the fake-in. So, in my case, I'd already got the leads because I'd got these things. And I literally swapped the lead over. But the inside unit I've got in my guest room, it's actually easier. The unit comes with a lead. So if I hadn't got the Wi-Fi, this is how easy it would be to put it together. So this is my indoor unit. Get up on the bed, stand on the remote, etc. Lift this up, and there's a flap here. There's a cable in it. And we plug that into there, like that. Simple as that. Now, once you've got this thing plugged in, it's actually really easy to use. It comes to life, a little light comes on, as you saw, and it appears as an access point that you can point your mobile phone to, and your phone should then come up with the web page to let you configure the Wi-Fi settings and give it a name. It tells you the IP address, but you can go to the name you gave it, .local, on your phone, and that's its settings. You can control your aircon from there, and you can go to various settings in there to connect it to something like Home Assistant to give it full control. So, really easy to use. There are a lot of other settings, and there's lots in the manuals on the website, but that's the basic level of using this. It's simple. But there's more. This thing is a remote control for the fake-in, and you get with a display with it. Again, you snap off the bits around it and plug the display in, and you end up with something that looks a bit like this, which I will plug in. And here's one I've put together with the display screwed in. This one has a CO2 sensor, a little button which goes up and down to change things. It shows current temperature, target temperature, mode, fan mode, CO2 levels, relative humidity, and at the bottom normally shows a clock, like that. If you've got a 3D printer, you can print a case for it. So here's one I printed earlier, 3D printed case. Yes, I ran out of grey partway through, that's why it's two-tone, but I think it looks nice. And there's a button. And it's simple controls. If you go up, it changes the temperature, moves it up. If you go down, it moves the temperature down. If you go left, it's power off. If you go right, it's power on. You can also hold the right-hand side, and now you're into switching mode, so I can change fan mode and things like that. So lots of things you can do just with the push of a button. So basically we now have a remote control that talks Bluetooth to the Faikin directly. No need for MQTT or Wi-Fi or anything, that works with the Faikin controller. Now obviously it'll also connect to Wi-Fi, Home Assistant and so on, and things like the CO2 and humidity and pressure and light levels are all recorded to Home Assistant, which is great. But it allows you to have a very simple remote control for your Faikin in scenarios that don't even have Home Assistant if you need. So that's the whole package at the moment. The website faikin.revk.uk, and there's lots on there. That goes to GitHub. It's all open source hardware and software, but we do sell it, and it's on Tindy and Amazon, so I hope you like it.